So now we have a sort of working program. At least it does what we want it to do, so to speak. It lets us enter the postcode. Because there's an error, there's no S, it gives us an error message. If we fix it, we would expect it to work. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case, and I'll explain why shortly. So let's fix the program. So put the S back in and save the work and run it. And we should see that we still get something wrong, and this time it says a bad request, and that basically is the hint as to what's going on. And at this level of programming, I'm not going to go too deeply into what a request is, apart from to say that the request is what we actually send. So the whole thing here is the request, and it's saying that there's a bad request. The fix is quite easy. It's knowing where to look. That's the problem. So if I tell you what the error is, we can have a look at the program and make it work, and then work out how to fix it to begin with. So again, let's take us back to these two libraries, urllib and urllib2. Previously we used urllib, and that's fairly loose. There are two kinds of requests that you can make. One is called a GET request, and a GET request appears on the address bar as we've got here. And really what's happening is that these parameters, the name and the value, are passed on the address bar. Now that's not very secure. If you were sort of sending passwords and user IDs, then they're available for everybody to see, and that's fairly bad. So there's another method that we can use, another kind of request called a post request. And what the post request does is exactly the same. It's got the web address, but it sends the details not on the address bar, but as part of the page, so people can't see it. So anybody intercepting this or looking at it cannot see the details. So they're the two kinds of requests that we can get. It's not the problem that we've got, but you need to be aware that there are two kinds of requests, a GET and a POST, when sending to a website, or particularly an API. So let's take a look at what the actual problem is here. It's saying it was a bad request. Okay, so we got a bad request. And it turns out that actually urllib was happy to have the postcode with a space. So I could write CV12 space 8DA, but urllib2 will not let that happen. If we sort of go back to Google Developers, let's see if I can get that on the screen for you. Google Geocode API. And let's see if I can take a look. So here we go. The actual call, the actual request is here. And you'll notice that in the address, each and every space is replaced by a plus sign. So it doesn't allow spaces in the URL, it needs to have a plus sign. We can try that out by, instead of just typing CV12 8DA, we can type CV12 plus 8DA, and hopefully we won't get this error message. So let's go back to our program and test that method out. So if I run it again, and this time the postcode CV12 plus 8DA, press enter, bang, we've got our problem. So what we need to do is, when we read this detail in to web address to begin with, this address here, we need to check for any spaces and replace those with a plus sign. We shall deal with that in the next video.